It's been revealed of how Nigel Farage's £80 billion tax cuts would benefit the richest the most. We're going to read into the exclusive from The Independent, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here, an exclusive here from The Independent with the headline of how Nigel Farage's £80 billion tax cuts would benefit the richest the most. Calculations for The Independent reveal the richest tenth of the population would gain almost 4 times as much as the poorest 10% from reforms tax plans. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. Oh, what a surprise! What a surprise! Reform UK want to enrich the richest in society and those on the poorest end to be left in the dust. Is this something that sounds familiar to you? This sounds like almost something that's happening in America. It's almost like that big, beautiful bill that was passed in Congress in America not too long ago that enabled the richest in society in America to get richer, while those who are struggling on Medicaid and the poorest will be worse off as a direct result. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? And yet still, despite this exclusive, despite them breaking down the calculations, some of you will still just continue to say, nope, not true. It's not true at all. Nigel Farage would never do that to me. And it's only until some people literally lose everything that they own, everything that they love, that maybe, just maybe, they'll realise perhaps Nigel Farage is not thinking in my interest. We have to see, obviously, what it's going to be. But let's have a look and see what The Independent's really broken down in terms of numbers. Very curious to hear what you guys think when we go through this. So, Nigel Farage has claimed that Reform UK is the party of workers. That's definitely not true. Has been called into question as figures show his plans to slash taxes would benefit the richest the most. And by the way, slashing taxes, doesn't get people out of poverty, because the poorest in society are already struggling. The Reform leader on Tuesday, outlined up to £80 billion worth of welfare and tax handouts, without saying how he would fund them in a bid to entice Labour voters, declaring Reform are now the party of working people. But economists have warned that billions of pounds worth of unfunded pledges would cause economic chaos, and said Mr Farage's plans would benefit top earners far from those on the lowest incomes. Okay. The centrepiece of Mr Farage's tax plan was a pledge to lift the tax-free income allowance from £12,500 to £20,000. That's costing between £50 billion and £80 billion a year. Okay. Stuart Adam, a senior economist and an influential Institute for Fiscal Studies, the IFS, said the biggest beneficiaries are the top 10%. It mainly benefits the better off, he told The Independent. Quote, he said, we are talking about an upper middle class being the biggest beneficiaries as a percentage of income, and the best off being the biggest beneficiaries in cash terms. Mr. Adams said that around a third of adults already earn too little to pay income tax, while the changes would also penalise those on universal credit, as any uplift in their take-home pay would be clawed back in lower welfare payments. He said a better way of targeting specifically working people with the tax cut would be to target employed national insurance, which is only paid by those in work. So this is a Reforms UK tax plans will benefit the wealthiest the most. This is a graph by Policy Engine here. This is the impact of Reforms UK tax benefit policies by income decline here. So you have on the right relative net income change as a percentage, and then you have income decline there as on the bottom there. So again, this is just one graph of what they potentially what the numbers that they are saying there. The thing is, for me, money should always it's always the idea that people have is that the whole premise of trickle down economics. People have this, the richest in society, the most wealthiest people in society, their idea is always money should come from the top and should be trickled down. You know, in this case, that's not the case. They're obviously talking about not the richest, but some of the highest earners in middle income. But for me, we need to, if you can get the poorest in society, the lowest medium incomers in society, Those who are really struggling, if you can lift them out of the situation that they're in, that means more people are contributing to the UK economy, thereby boosting growth. For me, that's how I see it. I look at it as a case of if we help from the bottom up, everyone benefits, because then everyone is contributing more to the economy. Everybody's contributing to growth. Everybody's working. Everybody's paying their fair share. Less people are reliant on benefits, entitlements, and whatnot. But obviously, it's a lot more complicated to that. It's easy to say that, but it's implementing such a thing is a much different matter. So calculations from the Independent Research Institute Policy Engine revealed that Mr Farage's plans to hike tax-free income allowance would boost their incomes from the bottom tenth of earners by 1.3%. By contrast, the calculations showed that the top 10% of earners would see their incomes boosted by 4.2% under Reform's plans. Max Mosley, a senior economist at the New Economic Foundation, told The Independent that Reform's attempts to appear progressive on issues such as winter fuel payments and the removal of two-child benefit cap are nothing more than a distraction. He said, quote, "It comes as part of a wider set of reforms which include regressive tax changes to cuts to public service while working people rely on. When we put all our policies together, it is the wealthiest households that benefit the most, and the poorest that will see the smallest difference in their standard of living. Being a party of workers does not mean giving pennies to the poorest and the pounds to the richest." That's a great line. Reform UK said its plans would undoubtedly help working people and benefit the lowest earners. A spokesperson has said, our plans to scrap the two-child benefit cap will lift 350,000 children out of poverty. Now, yeah, I agree, it will lift children out of poverty. But that doesn't necessarily mean it will end poverty for people. While raising the tax-free salary allowance of £20,000 will save, will save every worker almost £15,000 a year, putting an extra £30 per week back into people's pockets. This is a stark contrast to this government who hiked national insurance for working people and stripped winter fuel payments from over 10 million pensioners. Let me be clear about the national insurance, by the way. The national insurance hike was for employers, not employees. Get your facts straight there. And yes, it is true, and I've stated this already. It does the increase in national insurance to employers does have a ripple effect on employers. It can be by workers not getting employed. It can be by people being laid off or prices being increased. But it's not directly affecting employees. But it can have. But the rise in national insurance to employers can have and is likely to have a knock-on effect to employees from employers who have had to pay more because of this national insurance. That is very important for people to understand there. But it came after an extraordinary speech on Thursday, which showed that the severity of the threat Sakir believes that Labour faces from reform, in which he directly attacks Mr Farage's tax plans. The Prime Minister said, "The question you have to ask about Nigel Farage is, can you trust him? Can you trust him with your future? Could you trust him with your jobs? Could you trust him with your mortgage, your pension, your bills?" He gave the answer on Tuesday, a resounding no. He set out an economic plans that contain billions upon billions of completely unfunded spending, precisely to show of irresponsible splurge that sent your mortgage, your costs, your bills and the cost of living through the roof. It's Liz Truss all over again. I don't know if it's Liz Truss all over again, but it certainly is very questionable. Sakir said Labour was elected to clean up the mess left by Liz Truss, and that we were once again fighting the same fantasies, this time from Nigel Farage. A Labour MPs lashed out at Mr Farage over the plans. Dover and Deal MP Mike Tapp, one of Mr Farage's most prominent critics in the Commons, said Nigel Farage is a rich bloke. Remember, he's a rich person, who is trying to trick the public into thinking he's a working class hero. His policies speak the truth in it for himself and his rich mates. Reform have voted against all of Labour's policies standing up for working people. Don't be fooled. That's right. Remember, Reform UK voted against the workers' rights bills. Workers' rights that would actually improve your conditions as a worker. Did you know that? Have you read the bill? No, you haven't read the bill. Maybe you should read the bill and know that Reform UK and Nigel Farage want you to have less rights as a worker. Did you know about that? Maybe you should look that up, guys. Bury's North MP James Freer added Farage's plans will prioritise those at the top and be a hammer blow for family finances through a return to the chaos of Liz Truss. Only the Labour government can be trusted to drive growth in every part of the country and give working people the security they deserve in our country, the renewal that it needs. I wouldn't go that far with Labour if I'm honest on that. People voted for Labour because they were tired of the Conservatives. Let's be clear about that. The vast majority of people voted Labour because they wanted the Conservatives gone. That is the truth of the reality, is that there. Now, did this exclusive really open up my eyes to showing how Nigel Farage, that the richest the most? I don't think it said enough for me to say that it definitely for sure did, but it certainly raised more questions for sure. But the thing is that they can make all the claims they want, Reform UK, because they're not in power. They're a minority in Parliament at the moment with only 5 MPs. They're a minority. That's the reality is. And they can say whatever they want. They can lie straight to your face and you will believe it. Or they can lie to your face and you can say, well, show us the evidence, and then they will just change the conversation, because that's what they'll do. What do you guys honestly think about this? What do you guys make of this exclusive? Is the independent right? Is this going to benefit the richest in society, just like the richest in society are benefiting from Trump and his big, beautiful bill over in America? Let me know your thoughts and more on all of this down in the comments below. If you found this video interesting and informative, please hit that like button, share this across social media, subscribe if you haven't to already, check out the Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content as well. And if you want to financially support me in the work that I do here, because I don't BS you, you can click that join button down below to become a YouTube member for as little as 99p. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.